How is it going, everybody? I hope we're doing well. Okay, this is probably going to be on a little longer side as far as a video goes, like probably the most complex how-to I've ever done for you in this new adventure, although I think I have some pretty complex stuff on here. I don't remember. But, you know, I'm getting ready to make this liniment, and I thought, why not show them how to do it? Why not? This is simple, and you're definitely smart enough to make this too, so let's do it. So a liniment is kind of like a tincture in that it's made with an alcohol of sorts, and we're using the alcohol to extract the medicinal properties of the plant allies, but it's not safe for internal use because we are using rubbing alcohol. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not trying to get involved in working with rubbing alcohol, and that stuff smells horrible. But here's the deal. A liniment is something that we spray on our skin. And it's really just a nice little fill in between like oils and salves and gels. It evaporates quickly because of the alcohol. And so long as you're only using 50% isopropyl alcohol, you're gonna be okay. That means that this in a lot of ways is just like 100 proof vodka, where it's 50% alcohol, 50% water. And so some of the things that you could use this for are like skincare. I know people are like, whoa, alcohol and skin gets a really bad rap, actually. You're not going to be using this straight, and it's going to have other herbal properties in it. And people are just generally afraid, yeah, don't go putting plain rubbing alcohol on your face constantly. But I really like to use her for things that are to do with relieving pain. And so right now I'm going to make my like a pain relief mist. This is really great when it's hot, when you're done hiking, when you don't feel like being oily, you know, like it stays good forever too. And you don't have to worry about it melting in your car or ever going bad. So she's great for that. So again, this goes across the board when you're using anything alcohol based. Please make sure that you are working with fresh plant matter. And so I've got myself some heart-leafed arnica here. I'm going to put about half the bag in there. Now you could do just arnica, and you could just have an arnica spray. You know, and that's for like sore muscles, deep tissue repair, aching joints. A little spider, away with you. And I'm just going to put about this much in there. And then, let's see, I'm going to add in some St. John's wort, because she is also really amazing at helping with sore muscles, and really helping to repair those nerve ends that are sore. And now you're going to see that I'm not just using the blooms. I am not a bloom only type of gal when it comes to working with St. John's wort, because I feel like I don't just want the hypericin in her, which is the red content that comes out in her blooms. I want everything that's available in her stems and leaves too. I want a whole well-rounded lady there. So I'm going to put in, this might not turn out as long as I thought it was, I'm going to put in, you know, a good bit of St. John's wort in there. And of course, you can definitely just work with one plant ally at a time, and until you're comfortable and know how each plant will like play with each other, that might not be a horrible idea, because sometimes, whether it's a tincture or a tea or a this or a that, when you use combinations, you don't know, like if you have a bad reaction or a good reaction, so any reaction, whether it's for the good or the bad, you're like, wow, that really helped me, or ooh, I didn't feel so great after that. You really have no idea which plant did it. And so when you work with single allies at a time, whether it's externally or internally, you'll know for a fact if your body didn't like that or it really liked it, which one helped you a lot. But as you get to know these plants, you'll be like, well, I feel that St. John's wort is really complementary to arnica. I feel like they both cover areas, they fill in gaps for each other, and then there's one more that I like to add. And this is where it's great to use aromatics, meaning all plants have smell, but not all plants have a scent, because there's a difference between smell and scent, right? So I'm going to use one of my favorite ladies that grows abundantly here now. I guess she always has, but I kept finding her and finding her and finding her, and now I know where like there's a whole like 10-mile stretch of nothing but solid horse leaf, nettle leaf horse mint. There's the word. I know her really well. You know, I just lose words sometimes. But any mint will do. And now mint is also fantastic for sore muscles. So you can see my theme here. And that's probably because this time of year I'm in a bit of pain. Because by now I've been going hard non-stop since June, getting in all of these plant allies, climbing up all of these hills, embankments, falling down, cussing, getting stabbed by a stick, you know, like just random stuff. And so she is really great for that. And of course I forgot my scissors, so I'm just going to use her leaf, and I'm just going to strip her leaf off and her bloom right into there. Now, do know that if you're going to be stripping a lot of mint or anything that's super aromatic, I would suggest wearing gloves, because what happens is these plants have volatile oils in them that are higher than other plants, and that's why you have a high smell. And you start doing like a ton of this, like I have a bag right here that's got a lot in it. You start doing a ton of this, your skin might not be so happy to be constantly exposed. Now you're thinking, but I'm going to spray this on my body. It's not quite the same thing. You're ending up with parts per million. It's just that you're concentrating it again and again, you know. But this time of year, her leaves are a little sparse because she's paying attention to blooming. And that means everything else is going to be a little bit lower in volatile oils, which isn't a bad thing. Because I guarantee this rubbing alcohol will extract. And now, the reason that I don't want to use more than 50% isopropyl alcohol, which is just, again, fancy talk for rubbing alcohol, okay? It's not anything you can't find at like a dollar store, alright? This is cheap, but you cannot use it internally. Don't think you can like cheat and use this to make tinctures for internal use. You'll kill yourself dead, okay? This is external only. So the great thing is that she's also 50% water. So just like with the 100 proof vodka, when we're making tinctures, we are getting all of her alcohol soluble properties and her water soluble properties for a nice balanced blend. And now when I'm making a liniment, sometimes depending on how well she picks up scent, I might water it down. I might like when I'm done, I might strain this and add, you know, 20-25% more liquid that's not alcohol. And you're like, oh God, you said there'd never be math. But that math is easy, because you're like, well, I have a quart and there's 4 cups to a quart, and I need to add 25%, so that's 1 cup. You can add 1 cup of water to a quart. But it doesn't even have to be water. It could be like a mint infusion. It could be a St. John's wort with, you know, fresh plant matter infusion. It could be an arnica infusion. It could be whatever you want. I see a lot of people miss a chance to make really well-rounded medicine by only focusing on like the main extract they're making. Like, I could just add water, but I could take that chance to also add something that's going to make it even more well balanced. Instead of diluting it with just water, I'm going to just add another part to it. Does that make sense? You don't have to do that though. It just depends. Sometimes like this mint might cover up that alcohol smell, and honestly, you know, that's, other than like if you're going to use it for maybe direct skin use, like, well, I mean, like on your face constantly every day, you might want to put in that extra cup of water per quart, and just to kind of like take away some of that drying, astringent nature. But maybe that's what you're after. Maybe you're trying to dry up your skin, so maybe don't add the water. So, but really just play it by ear. And again, this rubbing alcohol is incredibly cheap, and you know, other than your time and getting out there and finding these plant allies, if that's the way you're going about it, you're really not out much experimenting. And of course, you don't have to make a big ass thing like this. You can make a small jar, and you can make multiple jars. You could say, I'm gonna make a half quart and a half quart, and I'm gonna see which one I like. I'm gonna add water to this one or whatever to this one, and nothing to this one. I'm gonna treat this one. I'm gonna try this one and see which one you like better. And so that's just a really great option. And when we start making small batches like this, you know, like, you're just able to experiment more. And then, you know, you can have all these medicines to use by the end of the growing season. It's pretty neat. Shoot, even in wintertime, there are places, even though I prefer you to go out and find plants in your own area, there are places where you can buy fresh plant matter and have it mailed to you. It's not exactly the cheapest route in the world, but, you know, it's, if you can afford to do that, even if it means you make a little less medicine, if you really, you know, if you're watching this in the winter time and you're like, oh man, I really want to make a tincture, I really want to make this, I want you to either take the time to go out and find medicines that are actually still alive in wintertime, because there's a lot more than people realize, or order from somewhere. I don't want you to use dried herbs making a liniment, because if you're going to have a reaction, just like with the tincture, it's going to be to dried plant matter, because again, it's not that it doesn't make it stronger. In a lot of ways it does. You're just getting into, like, that's all that's left in the plant is its volatile properties, and so you're into like the pharmaceutical area where, like, you could, like, if you're going to have a reaction, it's going to be because you're using dried plant matter. I mean, it could also be because your body just doesn't like that plant or whatever, but your odds are improved of having a bad reaction if you are using dried plant matter, or anything stronger than 50% alcohol, really. So, and don't worry, this will stay good even if you add 25% more water, which is a cup per quart about. I'm probably totally wrong on that math, but I think I'm pretty close. You're really still going to have something that's really shelf stable. So, because a thing only needs to be 25% alcohol for it not to spoil. So that's really the only math you have to figure out with that. But anyhow, so you're just putting these herbs into a jar. And we're just going to, here pretty quick, this will probably be the last one right here. You're just going to dump alcohol over top of them. It's really not as complicated as a lot of people want you to feel it is, okay? You definitely are smart enough to do this. Like, without a doubt, you are smart enough to do this. And if you're really just working with simple plants, safe, simple stuff, not exotic stuff, not like poison from the get-go stuff, your odds of hurting yourself are pretty slim. So a lot of people have fear about working with plants and, like, I don't want to poison myself or somebody to work with. I'm like, well, that's easy, don't work with poisonous plants. And we get into this mindset in our society that for something, we equate a sudden effect with healing, meaning we take a pill and it makes us feel different, and we're like, oh, we must be getting better because we feel different, and so we apply that to plant medicine. A lot of people want these really heroic herbs that are like an instant, like, oh wow, that really made me feel different and better and blah blah blah. But did it really make you feel better, or are you just equating change with health? So they really cast aside all these safe, simple plants that take time, because that's that instant gratification too, right? Where we don't want to, like, maybe slowly work with, like, say, herbal infusions and drink that daily. You're not drinking this. Again, remember, you're not drinking this internally. But, like, you know, or like just a balance. We don't want anything that doesn't give us a feeling of change right away. We don't want anything that takes time. We want everything to feel like big pharma. But when you step out of that mindset and, like, dig into, like, the wise woman tradition, where we're using, like, herbs that, like, heal through, like, nourishment and, like, repair and the body as a whole instead of like a car, it's really just life-changing. It's really affirming too. It's just all of a sudden your world just wakes up to you. It's just amazing. It really is. So all that aside, I'm just gonna take my rubbing alcohol, and I am just going to dump it right over the top of my fresh plant allies here. You can get it in bigger bottles. The place I get it from just didn't have it in bigger bottles. So this might be the longest part. No, it'll be okay. We'll be alright. We'll live through the wait. And so basically what this alcohol is going to do is it's going to extract the medicinal properties. And then we're just going to put this up in a cool, dark place for like 6 to 8 weeks, just like a normal tincture. And then when we're done, we will just press it out. And that meaning, or strain it. I mean, if you press it, it'll be, I feel like it makes it a little bit stronger because you're getting the alcohol that's like residing within the plant tissue. But you'll actually get a little bit more liquid to work with. And then you can just put it into any food grade spray bottle you want. I prefer to use glass. You know, a glass spray bottle, because, you know, they say these plastics are food safe and stuff, but you never know. And again, we're not using this internally, so it's probably not the end of the world. But and I guess you could get away with the food grade plastic if you're watering it down another 25%. So this hasn't been as long as I thought it would be of a video. I'm like, this is going to take an hour. I don't know why I thought it would take longer. But, so I'm going to leave a little bit of space there because I don't want my, because the way I'm using a lid here. Now, I tell you to fill it all the way to the top because you don't want it to oxidize, but at this point we're not using this internally, and I'd rather not have the rubbing alcohol on this plastic ring here. It's food grade, it's a fermenting jar, but still, I don't feel so strongly about it with vodka. She's not as I'd say volatile as like isopropyl alcohol is, but that's it. And so what's neat here is what's going to happen is it's going to extract all of her properties, but the hypericin and the St. John's wort is going to make this like a magic trick go red. And maybe by the time I'm done showing you what else I'm going to do, it'll do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a label. And I do this with all of my tinctures, any oil infusions, anything I make gets a label. You can just use masking tape. That's okay too. I make these Avery labels. They sell these. It's like you get like, I think it's like 10 or 15 sheets of these for like $5 or $10 at any big box store in like the paper section. But once you buy one, you get access to their free online label design platform, and then I just come in here and I make my own label. Like mine says, you know, whether it's a tincture, honey, oil infusion, other. I can put weights on there if need be, what it is, where I got it from, the date I started it. But you can do all that on masking tape. You could use a piece of duct tape, I don't care. Just label it, just label it. So I'm going to write on there that I put in arnica, heart-leafed arnica. I'm going to write in there that I put in St. John's wort. I'm going to write in there that I put in horse mint. And then I'm going to write in there 50% rubbing alcohol. That way I know the proof of it. I'm going to put the date. I'm going to mark tincture and other and wildcrafted and where I got the stuff from. Okay. Well, she's starting to turn red. Let's see if I shake it if it works. Sometimes, there she goes. It's like a magic trick, even when you do it with vodka. See, it's starting to turn red now? In an hour, it'll just be solid red, at least in the strip where the St. John's wort is at. Shake her a little bit. Yeah, you can see it going red now. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. I can even see the hypericin being pulled out of the blooms. It's kind of cool. It's a real cool magic trick. And so now I'm just going to stick my label on her so I know who she is. That way if I forget about her and it goes by for 6 months, I'll know who she is when I find her again. And then again, in a cool, dark place for 6 to 8 weeks, strain, and put in bottles and spray. Now, I know I talked about making a specific recipe here, and that's fine, but I also want you to get curious about liniments. I want you to be like, wow, what ally do I have on hand fresh right now that I would really love in a spray form? Like what if catnip is still going strong in your area? You know, you could use that plus some yarrow for like a bug spray. You could make a yarrow spray. You could make pretty much, it's endless as long as the plant has a topical application. I've even seen people make like wound healing sprays, like, you know, like yarrow and comfrey and all these other things. You can get creative with it, but you can also be patient with it and try working with just one plant ally at a time. But if you've already got somewhat of a relationship and you can like think, well, wow, this plant would really complement that plant and I'd like to try it, just make sure that you're using yourself as a guinea pig. I see a lot of people make medicines and then give them out to friends, family, or sell them without using them for a while. And it's, I mean, you know, we can all hurt our friends and family a little bit and be forgiven, but it's dangerous if you're going to decide to sell this stuff and like you haven't like used it for a while to know like its effects. Although externally that's not as problematic as if somebody's going to use something internally. You know, but anyhow, that's some stuff to think about. And you're definitely smart enough to do this. Oh, there goes her red. Quite a bit more now. Oh, knocked the camera down with all my shaking. Well, let me just get close here. See the red? That's from the hypercin and the St. John's wort. Okay, folks. I want you to know that you are smart enough to do this. You are smart enough and completely capable of going out here and finding these fresh and thriving plant allies and pour some rubbing alcohol over them. You are smart enough to just go out there and start finding these plants and IDing them and learning about them and getting curious about them and taking some of your health back into your own hands. And you don't need to pay people thousands of dollars to do it, okay? Please don't. Please don't. We live in an era of free information, meaning basically when you pay somebody to teach you, you give them, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars to hand you course material in the realms of herbalism, that is, they are essentially amassing a bunch of free information and funneling it to you for a charge. Not to say that people shouldn't get paid for their time and things like that, but I feel like it's just really out of control. Without ranting too much, it's just, we shouldn't hold knowledge hostage for profit. It creates this really sick industry, and we especially shouldn't do it in the herbalism world, where the goal is to help people take health back into their hands, because when people can't afford it, all of a sudden only the financially privileged feel like they are smart enough or worth enough to do this. And that's just super gross. Plus, in the United States anyhow, there is no certification for being an herbalist. So any course you take where they're like, you'll be a certified herbalist, is bullshit. Flat out bullshit. It's a lie, and that piece of paper is meaningless. So you don't need to pay for that knowledge, for your knowledge to be valid. You don't. You just can get out there and get curious and start reading and start doing the work, and before you know it, you'll have all this information and you'll have all this knowledge. It's extremely valid, and you'll be able to do this for yourself and for your loved ones and whoever else you want to do it for. So get out there and get curious. If you like hearing me go on little rants now and then about things, or how to watch these simple videos on how to make stuff. I really try hard to simplify this stuff for everybody. Subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. That not only helps you know when I'm uploading new stuff, it helps other people find me, because it tells the almighty algorithm of YouTube that my stuff is worth watching because people are subscribing. And liking and commenting does the same thing. But that also has the added benefit of letting me know that I am not doing this alone. That you're here with me, that you're supporting me, that I'm not just talking into the void. And that really means a lot to me. And I love engagement. I like to talk with people. I do my best to reply to most questions and most things. You're a human, I'm a human. I'm going to respect that you took the time to ask me something. And if it's something that I can answer, or that I have the spare energy to answer whenever the question comes in, I will do my best usually to reply. And speaking of getting to know me and engagement, come find me on Instagram. Seriously, if you haven't found me there yet, there's just a lot there you can learn about me. And I don't just talk about herbalism. I think that herbalism needs to encompass so much more than herbs, you know, just like facing self and traumas and all kinds of stuff. And I don't sugarcoat stuff. I'm a pretty raw person. So you can follow the link in my bio here, there, and my website, and all other ways to come and learn about me and say hi, because I'll say hi back. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.